Hey, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That belongs to the apostle of the millstone. Peace and salutation to Yahweh, pushing his truth throughout the four winds. This is another follow-up video in the book of Luke. It's part 3, the new recites the old. And it's basically going into verses and scriptures and things that were prophesied in the Old Testament that came to pass in the New, and also quotes, because Christianity tells you, and people that really don't know the Bible tell you that basically the Old Testament that's another time frame, another dispensation, but they basically are the same thing. It's just recited. This is Malachi 3:1. It says, "Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts." All right, this is Luke 7:27. It says, "This is he of whom it was written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare the way before thee." Okay? Hand in hand. Isaiah 6:9. "And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not." Luke 8:10. Salakia. Luke 8:10. It says, "And he said, unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of the Most High, but to others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand." All these things were basically said in the Old Testament. It was the same thing. Understanding. When you understand reincarnation and having no former remembrance of things, and spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets, nothing new under the sun, you'll understand these spiritual things, okay? You'll understand that these same men, a lot of them are back here today, okay? If they're not here right now, they have been, all right? So they're basically saying the same thing over again. All right. It says 2 Kings 4:29. Then said he, then he said unto Gazi, Gird up thy loins, and take thy staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child." Another similar account in Luke. Okay, it says, it's Luke 10:4. "Carry neither purse, nor scrip, nor shoes, and salute no man by the way." We just read that in 2 Kings. Okay? Salute no man. This is Deuteronomy 6:5. It says, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might." Luke 10:27. "And he answering said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself." So these are things basically just quoted, and there's so many of them. You understand that when you start reading it and really get a good grasp of what you're reading, you understand, like, a lot of these things, I mean word for word, came from the Old Testament. So how is it that these two books could be different? Notice how thick the Old Testament, so say Old Testament is, and how thin the New Testament is. Now imagine if they would have quoted tit for tat everything. It'd be the same book. You know what I'm saying? It would be the same book. It was prophecies about Yahweh Shah in the Old Testament. Many of them. All right? So by Christians actually thinking that the Old Testament was just they like, if you listen to them talk, they'll make the Old Testament about just the Father, not knowing that Yahweh Shah was giving the reins to everything in the Old Testament. You know, so it's just a lack of understanding. All right. This is Leviticus 19 and 18. It says, "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushua." Okay. Luke 10 and 27, once again. "And he answering said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself." Pulled straight from the law. Pulled straight from the law. And the law is found in the Old Testament. So this kills that the law is done away with. If all the prophets and everyone, and disciples and everyone were quoting from the Old Testament, and they're telling you on how to conduct yourself, and they got it exactly directly from the Old Testament, what is that telling you? It's telling you that these things still have to be upheld. But what they do is they knew and they know that those things were for Israel. So what they really want to do is place themselves in that slot also, to give themselves a chance for salvation. That's why they really exclude the Old Testament, because they had no parts in the Old Testament. But they think by Yahweh Shai, who they call Jesus, coming and dying, it gave them a chance. No. It gave the Israelites a chance to basically get their inheritance and what was promised to them. All right? It's Leviticus 18 and 5. "Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushua." Luke 10 and 28. "And he said unto them, Thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live." Okay? Hand in hand. So don't just do things in word, do it in deed also. You can't preach to someone about keeping the law and walking righteously, and you're not doing it. Okay? Or speaking on speaking to people about on the keyboard and teaching people off the internet and not going on the highways and hedges. That's physical. Now you put yourself in harm's way. Okay, so you have to lead with deeds and not just words. This is Jonah 1 and 17. It says, "Now Yahweh Bashem Yahushua had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights." This is Luke 11 and 30. "For as Jonah was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation." You see that? What comes from that? a sign. Okay? The good news. Jonah was basically in the fish for 3 days. And that's like how Shai was in the grave for 3 days. After those 3 days, the fish spit Jonah out. And the grave gave up Yahushua. Okay, but it was all for a purpose. Okay, but they're saying the same thing. One's just an example. All right, this is Genesis 4:8. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field, that Cain arose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Luke 11:51. From the blood of Abel until the blood of Zacharias, which perished between the altar and the temple, verily I say unto you, it shall be required of this generation. Okay? You go back to Cain and Abel, it's telling you blood was spilled, and wasn't Cain punished? And wasn't it required? Notice how the requirements from Cain was not fully played out. But look right here. It says, it shall be required of this generation. The same way. So prophecies and curses are not always played out direct. Okay? Yahweh Shem Yahushua is a chess player, man. It's not always direct when things play out. You know, some time will go on. Some time will go on. And then boom, it's the time for it. They say the same thing. It's 2 Chronicles 24:21. And they conspired against him and stoned him with the stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of the Lord. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done unto him, but he slew his son. And he did what Salaki. And when he died, he said, the Lord looked upon it and required it. Okay? It's a requirement. Blood is always required. It's always going to be recompense and payback for bloodshed, especially when it's murder. Okay? Luke 11:51. From the blood of Abel until the blood of Zacharias, which perished between the altar and the temple, verily I say unto you, it shall be required of this generation. So it's going to be required. And who requires it? How about Shem Yahushua? Psalm 6:8. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, for Yahweh Shem Yahushua hath heard the voice of my weeping. Luke 13:27. But he shall say, I tell you, I know you not, whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. So I guess it's some kind of coincidence that these people say the same thing in like the same situations generations later. Right. It's Psalms 118:26. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We have blessed you out of the house of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Luke 13:35. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And verily I say unto you, ye shall not see me until the time come when ye shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Okay? We have blessed you out of the house of the Lord. And 118 and 26, blessed be he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Okay, so how is it that in Psalms, and this is all caps on both, okay, this is all caps. So how is it in Psalms they're basically praising Yahweh, okay, and in Luke they're praising Yahweh, the God of Israel? Remember that. So what's changed? Nothing. Jeremiah 12 and 7, it says, I have forsaken mine house, I have left mine heritage, I have given the dearly beloved of my soul unto the hand of her enemies. Luke 13:35 again, behold, your house is left unto you desolate, it was given away. And verily I say unto you, ye shall not see me, until the time come when ye shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Plain and simple. So there'll be a time where the Lord will turn his back on his people. Okay? All the way in Jeremiah, a prophecy, and Luke 13:35, Jeremiah 22:5. But if ye will not hear the words, I swear by myself, said Yahweh Shem Yahshua, that this house shall become a desolation. Once again, Luke 13:35, behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And verily I say unto you, ye shall not see me, until the time come when ye shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. I mean, these things are spot on. Prophecy and where it's fulfilled. Proverbs 25:6. Put not forth thyself in the presence of the king, and stand not in the place of great men. Luke 14:8. When thou art bidden of any man to a wedding, sit not down in the highest room, lest a more honorable man than thou be bidden to him. So you don't put yourself in a king's place, or you can't basically just don't try to be something that you're not. Okay, don't put yourself in a higher position that the Lord called you to be. But they're saying the same thing. Okay, Micah 7:6. For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter raiseth up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. Luke 14:26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and his mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. So you have to put these people off as if they're your enemies. Okay? But you have to know how to be wise. Don't hate your family. It's not what it's saying. But nothing supersedes the love of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. Okay? Because at any given time, these people that you're calling your family, somebody could come in and kick the door and do this, or they get a bullet to the head. And it's something pertaining to Yahweh Shem Yahshua. You don't forsake Yahweh Shem Yahshua and do what they say because they have that family member. You know? Leviticus 19:17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Luke 17:3. Take heed to yourself. If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him, and if he repent, forgive him. There you go. You're not suffering sin upon him. Okay? Hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahshua. That belongs to the apostle, knows the great millstone. Peace and blessings to y'all, completion, truth throughout the four winds. Shalom.